Calabugos with Think Future. So, over the last little while, I've had a number of folks on my channel who talk about XR and AR and VR and all those augmented reality experiences. Now, I remember when I was working with Yahoo maybe, 10, 15 years ago, and one of the patents that we put together was a patent that was basically augmented reality. We didn't call it augmented reality. It was taking virtual reality and making the headset transparent. And in this transparent headset, like an AR rig, it would show things that you were looking at. So for example, you were walking along, you'd see somebody, and maybe it would detect who that person was, and there'd be like a little speech bubble above their head with their name on it. So hey, that's Bob. Hey, Bob. And then Bob owes you $5. Don't forget to ask him, hey, Bob, remember that $5 you owe me? So we kind of came up with something similar to augmented reality way back when. This is one of the patents that's filed with Yahoo right now. And one of the things that, and since then I've worked with augmented reality, with extended reality, with mixed reality, with all of these things for a lot. And I've had a couple people on my show discussing XR and VR and AR. And there's a couple of things about XR and VR and AR which I feel that we really need to get to for it to be a truly important experience. And I think we're nowhere near there yet, unfortunately. So last time we talked, somebody mentioned something about the Oculus Rift 2, the Oculus Rift 2 being really, really good, that the rig is great, it's wireless, it connects to your head, it doesn't, you don't have to connect it to your computer, and it works really, really well. And you can get some great experiences out of it. And I'm thinking, yes, that's great. But again, the problem lies in what we're doing. Because we are not connecting directly to our brains, we're connecting through the senses that we have. And I think that's where a lot of our research is. A lot of our research is in trying to figure out what's the best, most accurate interface that we can feed into our senses in order to elicit the proper response. So let's get really super high resolution TVs in front of our eyes, bombarding photons into our eyes. Let's get really high resolution things bombarding things into our ears. Let's get really high resolution things bombarding things into our nose. Let's get real high resolution things bombarding things into our mouths for taste. Right? We're going to end up with this helmet which is over our heads, and it's just going to be bombarding us with stuff. And the problem is that all we're doing is we're creating fake things for our senses to read. And unfortunately, that's never going to cut it. It's never going to cut it. It's never going to cut it because there's always this disconnect between our senses and what we're thinking. I mean, you can get close. You can get close, but you won't get the full reality of the situation until we get to direct to brain interfaces. Yes, that's right, folks. The Matrix. We need to bypass our senses. Once we bypass our senses, then we can put ourselves in any situation, anywhere. We have to get around the optic nerve. We have to get around the auditory channel. We have to get around the olfactory gland. We have to get around the taste buds. We have to go past them directly into the brain, and only then will we be getting the true XR experiences. But then I digress. So let's say that that's a little far out. That's like 10, 20 years out, where we're not actually doing that. And some people might not want to do that. They'll watch movies like Matrix or whatever and go, I don't want to be plugged into that machine. If you ask me, if that's possible, I want to be one of the first ones plugged in because I want to have that experience. Secondly, here's the other problem with XR, VR, MR, whatever you want to call it, is that we take great pains to try and emulate the experience of being in a real place. I mean, I've seen it everywhere. It's like everywhere you see a VR experience or an AR experience or any of those things, especially VR experiences, everywhere you see a VR experience, what are they trying to do? They're trying to duplicate a conference room, or they're trying to duplicate a desk, or they're trying to duplicate a movie theater, or they're trying to duplicate an auditorium, or they're trying to duplicate a conference. So they're trying to duplicate a real world object. Oh, I'm going to a conference. How do I go to a conference? Oh yeah, sign into this conference. Okay, sign into this conference. What do you get put into? A lobby. You see a 3D lobby in front of you. You walk forward. You have an avatar. You're walking. This is supposed to be me, right? Even if it's in VR, even if it's surround sound VR and it looks real good and it's highly accurate, it's still, I'm in this fake environment which is replicating the world. We need to go beyond that. And this is one of the things I always have a problem with, is that people try too hard to replicate reality. Why? Well, because, we live in reality. We like reality. I guess we kind of like reality. We're kind of stuck here. We can't really do anything about it. We're stuck in reality. So we try to replicate reality in these virtual worlds. And the reality is, oh, pardon the pun, the reality is that we could do so much more. And that's the problem, is that we can do so much more. Remote is better. AR is better. VR is better if we go beyond reality. If we make things better than reality. If we make things better than reality, then people might say, oh, you know what? I would prefer to attend that conference over Zoom because I'm getting a better experience than if I did it in person. So we need to ideate in that space. We need to look at, if we assume that people will not be in the same space, that people will be experiencing these things virtually, then what do we need to do to make this experience better than reality? We don't want to just copy the conference going experience. We want to make the conference going experience amazingly better than the in-person conference going experience. Now there's something you budding startup founders should be thinking about. How can we make virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality better than reality?